Hello, fabulous Sonder fam. How are you on this lovely Sunday evening? I know I saw some people in the chat saying they got their May journals in the mail, and they're saying, "How can it possibly be almost time for May?" I know we are getting there. I just, time just keeps on cruising by, but that's okay. It's still April. It's April 19th. We've still got plenty of time here in April, right? So, welcome to our weekly setup. We're going to set up what week is this? This is week 17 of the year. We're going to work on setting that up tonight. Is anybody new? Is this like your first time coming to one of our socials? You're new. Maybe you've had the Silk and Sonder journals for a while, but this is your first time coming to a social, or maybe you're new to both. You can just put a little me in the chat, or I'm new. I see lots of familiar names in the chat, so that's always fabulous to see our returning members. But I just want to shout out to any of the new folks. And keep in mind, if you are new, there are no there's no cameras for you. There's no audio for you. So don't worry. It's very low stress. You can participate in the chat if you want to, but you do not have to. If the stress of the chat is too much, you can just kind of X that out and you don't have to worry about that. We do record these socials, so they will be put on YouTube. However, the chat does not come across in the YouTube video. So just know the chat is the bonus, the perk of being here live, and we're always so happy for our folks who can make it live. And you will notice that we do have weekly setups. We have them three times. We do Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning. Oh, Greta, I hope it's not me that's freezing. Jennifer would tell me. I'm hopefully my internet is not being naughty. Sometimes it's just like an internet glitch. You might have to sign out and sign back in. Okay, good. So in the chat with me tonight is the fabulous Jennifer O, coming to us from Texas. She will be keeping an eye on the chat. She will be answering your questions. She will be kind of helping me out a little bit. Sometimes I try to keep an eye on the chat, but sometimes I'm very easily distracted and then I forget what I'm going to say. So I have to kind of ignore the chat sometimes, or I get completely off track. So just know that that's a good place to ask those questions. And make sure you set that chat to everyone, by the way. Switch that little blue box to everyone. Zoom has an obnoxious tendency to go back and forth. It'll go to host and panelist. And when it does that, the only people that will see what you write are myself and Jennifer. So I always like to have some fun little graphics here. I thought this was really fun, the little ABCs of a happy life, right? So always kind of fun to see. I will also encourage you to take screenshots if there's anything that you want to save, remembering that this is recorded. You will be able to see this again later on YouTube if you want to go back and screenshot anything there. So I did also put this up in the beginning here. We have our spring clean reset exclusive social that our fabulous Jennifer O will be leading on Tuesday. I will be in the chat that time, and she's going to be talking about clearing the noise and choosing what matters. And I think that is fabulous, especially for this time of year, right? A lot of us are thinking about spring cleaning, but it's not just going to be about physical spring cleaning. We're going to kind of talk about some mental spring cleaning as well, right? So that's 5 Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully you can join us. There is a small fee for that. I don't know exactly what it is, but if you click on the link, you can see that because it is separate from anything that we have in the journals. So there is that. Few little community guidelines we like to make sure that everyone is aware. We want to make sure that this is a safe and supportive space for everyone. So we just ask that you're kind and courteous to both yourself and others. No promotions or spam. We respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. Limiting those repetitive product and accessory questions. It's fine to ask a few questions about like pens that don't bleed or where you got your stickers. Honestly, the best place for that is in the Sonder Club app, because then folks can give you links to things, show you pictures, that kind of thing. So that's a good place to ask about those. Any of those customer care inquiries, I'll go to our team, hello@silkandsonder.com. Jennifer and I do not have access to your account, so we can't fix anything for you. And so if you need to update your mailing address, update your credit card information, billing information, remember I just got my Discover card. I just got the new one with the new expiration date. It expires May 26th, so I got the new one with some ridiculous expiration date like May 35 or something. I'm like, how is 2035 even a year? But remember when that happens, sometimes any of those recurring things you have will be declined. And so just remembering that, just a little service announcement there. And then ultimately remember that these socials really are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community. And we have such a fabulous, supportive, creative, fun, wonderful community here. But ultimately, you're responsible for your own emotions, well being, and decisions. So if there's ever anything that we're working on that just isn't your jam, and you want to work on something else, maybe you just want to hang out here in color. Maybe you just want to hang out here and chat in the chat with some of your friends, right? You could totally do that, right? This is your time to do with as you need to. So there's no right or wrong way to be here in the socials. This is here for you so that you can set up your week, so that you can carve out this little bit of time for some self-care. And we are so happy that you are taking this time to spend with us this evening. So this month's theme has been awareness, and I think it's been such a great theme because it can be awareness of your surroundings, awareness of yourself, awareness of your feelings. Just kind of, I liked this quote because I think really when I think of awareness, I think of just that idea of presence, right? Being present in the moment, fully understanding kind of like what's going on, not thinking about the past, not thinking about what you've got coming up in the future, just really kind of being right here in the here and now and being aware of how you feel, of who you're with, kind of what you're doing, and just that whole idea of awareness. So I think this is definitely a timely theme for us. We are going to work on our awareness mind map. This is something that we do in our weekly setups. We always spend a little bit of time digging into that theme. This isn't going to be anything that's printed in your journal. A lot of folks like to use the back page of their journal for this, but really you can use like the scratch pad section, kind of anything, any place where you want to write in there. Jennifer's saying, I feel like I've had too much awareness this month. I need time to zone out. And honestly, that is a form of awareness, right? The awareness is like, okay, too much stimulation, too much is happening. I am aware that I need to kind of set that back. I need to zoom in on maybe what I'm listening to or where I am and kind of take a little break. And so I think that is also a great point, is that sometimes too much awareness of everything is too much, right? So we kind of have to figure out that balance of how to kind of handle incoming and outgoing information there, right? We're going to do our rosebud thorn activity, which is over on page 44. And then we're going to do those weekly setup pages on 46 and 47. So if you've been with me before, you know that I use these two little cartoons to illustrate a couple of points. One is that there's room for you here just as you are. If you are zoning out, if you need to chill, if you just need to chat with your buds, we're here for that. If you want to share some celebrations, we love those. Share some rough things that are kind of weighing on your mind, you can share those. We're here for all of it. And then the way that you feel matters, and no emotion you feel is bad or unworthy. So nobody can tell us we should be happy or we shouldn't be mad about this or we should be this or that, right? It's just our emotions are our emotions, and sometimes just kind of letting them bubble up to the surface and just letting them kind of float there for a little while and just saying, okay, I'm feeling a little stressed. Why am I feeling stressed? What's going on? I'm just going to let myself chill and relax. And kind of see how it goes. Oh, well, and Kimberly saying she's hoping she doesn't fall asleep like she did a couple socials ago. You know what? Honestly, that's okay, right? If we lull you into a happy dreamland, I'm good with that. Nothing wrong with getting a little bit of little few extra Z's there. So again, you can use any kind of blank space in your journal or the weekly scratch pad, or maybe like page 3, the definitions, the quotes page on page 38, that back page. Maybe it's a sticky note. Maybe it's last month's journal that had some space in it you wanted to write. Kind of whatever works for you. We do the 4 quadrants because we always have the 4 mind map theme questions. Sometimes we have a little bonus if there's an extra weekend in there. Some people kind of trace around like their driver's license or a cookie cutter to make fun little pictures. But we're just going to really thinking about awareness. We're going to zoom in specifically this week on connecting with yourself. Now, this is week 3. If you have not done week 1 or week 2, that is okay. Let me just tell you right now, you do not have to catch up. You are not behind. If you would like to snap a picture of this and work on week 1 and week 2 later, great, do that. But you know what? You can always just start where you are, right? Week 3, this is where I'm going to start. I haven't done week 1 and week 2. Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to start with this one. No catching up, no being behind, right? We're where we are, and we're going to connect with ourselves. So I want you to list some simple ways that you can check in with yourself on a daily basis. And I saw some folks in Sonder Club kind of talking about they got a new job, someone got a new job, and they have a longer commute, so there's more time away from home. And they were saying, like, how do I keep up with my journal? How do I spend time with my journal? And the thing is, like, maybe it's something simple as maybe 30 minutes before you go to bed, turn everything off. Um, and then work on your journal. Maybe it's first thing in the morning. Maybe you're getting up 10 or 15 minutes earlier just to spend that little bit of time having a nice cup of tea or your coffee, spending some time on your journal. So checking in with yourself. So I think this is a great opportunity to think about that, right? Maybe it's activities like working in your journal or writing in your journal. Maybe it's doing things like sitting for some meditation, even a 1 minute meditation, just that pause. Maybe it's a quiet walk. Maybe it's a walk outside. Maybe it's just laying in your bed after you wake up, not falling back asleep, but that's always my problem. If I stay in bed, I will fall back to sleep. So I have to hop up. But just thinking about these simple ways that you could check in. Maybe it's at noon, maybe it's at your lunchtime. You set aside 5 minutes to just kind of sit and be quiet. And some folks are talking about there's some different apps that you can use to kind of help you be mindful and really check in with yourself. And our mood tracker, this is a great opportunity maybe to use that, right? You set a little alarm on your phone for like 10 a.m. and you're like, I'm just going to record my mood. I'm just going to check in. This doesn't have to be a 30-minute thing, just a quick piece, a quick pause where you can think about how might these help you understand your inner thoughts and feelings to bring out more awareness. So really thinking of those simple ways to check in. So I'm going to be quiet. I'll play just a little bit of music. I will let folks share in the chat either what they do now, simple ways that they check in, or maybe something that they're thinking of doing as they go forward today. So I will be quiet and then we'll check back in. Oh, I forgot. I just realized I forgot to go on to the other. Ugh, I'm just in such a hurry. Thank you, Jennifer, for being like, has some other ways to check in. Here's some other ways to check in. um, Thinking about what you feel and what you need. This is a great place to put on the Mind Body Health plan over on page 47. So here's some examples of I feel and some self-talk or ways that you want to check in. Right? Maybe you want to have a distraction list. This is Jennifer's distraction list that she keeps in a little electronic note, like the little keep notes on her phone. So she can go in and be like, I need a distraction. I need something to kind of help myself check in. So she has different things listed there. I put in knitting and crocheting because I like to do that. That sometimes is a good way to just check in with myself, give me a little bit of meditation. Oh, I love Kimberly saying I changed my work password to a Q word like breathe or unclench your jaw as a mini check-in. That is I love passwords as kind of an affirmation. So maybe your password is like, I am brilliant, and then some sort of a number or some exclamation. But I love that idea of breathe, be present, check your battery. Those are great ideas, especially for those of us that have to change our password every, 90 days or something like that. All right. So I had to make sure I got through all my little ideas. So there's our ideas for some things to do. Now I'll be quiet and now I'll let you work on that. And then we'll check back in here in just a moment. And I'll cycle through these if you want to see them again. Right. I saw so many great ideas in the chat for things that folks want to do just to give yourself just that few little minutes to check in with yourself daily, right? So lots of great ideas for fun things you can do with software passwords. Um, who was it? Somebody screams in the car after work. Yes, I have done that myself, right? Um, but again, just those little check-ins, just 1 minute meditation. There's lots of different apps out there. I saw some folks putting some different ones. Insight Timer is an app I think that you can get, that'll, but just your phone's regular timer, right? Just set it for 1 minute, set it for 30 seconds, right? That's the other thing too. Sometimes folks are like, I can't meditate or I can't take the time. I bet if you just set it for 30 seconds or even 15 seconds, literally just say, okay, this week, every day, 15 seconds, I'm going to set my timer. I'm just going to close my eyes for 15 seconds. And then if you want to start increasing it, you can, right? Those little wins, those small wins, sometimes are what we need to be able to move forward, right? And sometimes when we start out with this huge goal, I'm going to meditate for, an hour every day, and I'm going to go on a hour walk every day, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And you have to say, okay, how many hours do you think you have in a day? Because I'm pretty sure we all have the same 24. So really keeping that in mind. And then if you struggle with hitting the snooze in the morning, um, try the 5 4 3 2 1. It's Mel, what's her name? Mel Robbins. She does that. It's kind of like yes, Nicole. It's like a launch, right? So it's like, okay, I hit the snooze. I keep going back to sleep. Okay, now when the alarm goes off, I'm going to just give myself a countdown: 5 4 3 2 1, and then I'm just going to get up, just going to do it, right? I'm not going to let myself think about it. Or maybe you have to do 3 2 1, right, and get yourself up. So you will be happy that you do, right? Give yourself that little bit of extra time. So let's move over to page 44. Thank you all for sharing just those little ways you want to check in. And again, maybe this is something that you want to write in some of these areas. Maybe this is going to be one of your goals or your to-dos or your habits and activities. So keep that in mind when we start to get into those pages. But first, we are going to do our rosebud thorn over on page 44, right? And we do this every week, and just gives us a little bit of time to think about what happened this last week, right? Give ourselves that time to reflect. So I like to start with the thorn just because it's that thing that kind of is a challenge for us. And this is a way that this is something maybe we can confront challenges with determination. We all have some different struggles, carry on with resilience. This inspires and empowers us to grow from adversity. So this is just something that maybe is just kind of frustrating, something out of your control. So for me, my father-in-law, he's 87 and he's been in really good health for most of the time that I've known him, but he is getting older and he's starting to have some health issues. He's been passing out and getting dizzy. And the doctors are just like, oh, maybe you're dehydrated, right? They can't find anything wrong with him per se. So that's just getting a little frustrating. And then they did finally find there is a little something with his heart that they want to do a stent. So he's going to have some surgery next month. And so my husband's a little stressed because, it's his dad and his mom passed away 9 years ago. So he's feeling a little stressed. So that's just, a bit of stress. And, there's nothing really you can do about it, but be there for him and just kind of keep him in your thoughts. So I know a lot of folks are struggling with different health issues, and that can be really tough. Yeah, Chris, medical issues, trying to get answers sometimes is just, I'm like, are you a doctor or not? Like, I thought medical science was better than this. So it can be a little bit frustrating, but we will get through this too. Yeah, they keep talking about hydrating, but I keep saying, well, how much are you drinking? Like, are you keeping track of how much you drink? Like, maybe then you could tell them, well, I'm already drinking this, or I already am doing this, but I don't go to the doctor with them, so I am not sure. Um, and then, so our bud is something that is an emerging opportunity, something exciting, something that we're looking forward to, something that is kind of keeping us going. Here we can nurture growth and potential. We can foster curiosity, encourage continuous improvement, anticipate future potential, right? Maybe it's that growth mindset. So we are going to Spain in August, my husband and I, and we're taking my 25-year-old nephew. It'll be his first time out of the country. So I think that will be really fun. So I've been excitedly looking for fun things to do in Spain. So that's a definite bud. And then the rose is something that's a highlight, something that's fun. Thank you all for your well wishes. And I'll scroll back through and see all our fun diagnosis. I know we all like to play doctor. We're like, how about this? How about this? I appreciate that. Thank you there in the chat. So for our rose, we're going to emphasize the positive, cultivate gratitude, embrace the rose to uplift your spirits and inspire others. So I got to see Project Hail Mary Friday. Well, I saw it a couple weeks ago and loved it. And then we saw it again in IMAX Friday night and Saturday night because we have the AMC A list, so which is awesome deal for getting to see movies. And it's just such an amazing movie, and I just love. It's just so uplifting. I am not going to spoil anything. Um, and we are, just for those of you who are in the Fable book group that I lead, the unofficial Silk and Sonder one, we did just vote on our May book, and it is going to be Project Hail Mary. So I'm going to read that. Oh, good. And there's some of you who have been to Spain. So I will definitely be maybe asking for some tips on that. So that's my rose, my bud, and my thorn. Feel free to share in the chat, either rosebud or thorn or all three, right? Yeah, Kimber's saying now we need Ask Dr. Sonder in the app. I always joke and I say I'm a doctor, but I'm not that kind of doctor because I have a PhD, but not a medical doctor. So anyway, I will play a little bit of music here, let you work on that, and then we'll check back in and keep moving on. All right. So thank you so much for sharing those roses, buds, and thorns in the chat. I think it's so important that we just take a moment and really think about all the different things that happen in the week. It can be so easy to just rush right into the next week or rush right into the next month and then kind of forget some of these things. So these pages are always really good when we start a new month, and you can kind of look back and see. And it's also really important to see sometimes that even though there are some frustrating things and challenging things, there are also good things, even if they're small, right? Even if it's a very small rose or a very small bud. So thank you all for sharing there in the chat what that looked like for you this last week. And so let's dive into our weekly planner over on pages 46 and 47. I love the idea of a new week. We get to kind of change some things up. If you are a pro at setting up your week and you kind of have your routine down, fabulous. But I also think this is a great opportunity every week to maybe experiment with some things, maybe change some things up, do some different things, and see how it works, see what it looks like, right? Because you only have it for a week, and then you can switch back to something else if you want. So sometimes just a little shift, a little shake up can be just the thing you need, especially mid-month, right, as we go in. So we're going to start out with the how we want to feel up there at the top of page 46. And it can be one word. It could be maybe I want to feel more of this and less of this. Maybe it's a set of words that you really like. Maybe it's a phrase or a mantra or an affirmation. Maybe you want to just put a sticker in there. Maybe you have some sort of a little picture. You want to draw a little picture in there, a quote. Maybe it's last week's word and you liked it so much you want to bring it forward again, or you didn't quite capture the feeling, so you want to bring it forward again and try. Um, Maybe you have a word of the year that you like to just have in there every week, and that works as well. So, and remember, it doesn't have to change every week unless you want it to, right? So if you have that same word, I see people putting in the chat things like purposeful, grateful, revitalized. Those are all great words. Here's some examples of things that folks have put in there: loved, happy, positive, 1% better, more rested and energized, less scattered and exhausted, wants to feel closer to my goals, want to feel simple, want to feel patient with myself. Oh, I love that. That is great, right? Present. How often are we patient with someone else and then we're not patient with ourselves? So I think that is lovely to say we want to be a little more patient with ourselves. I'm also going to talk about those three goals because I think sometimes if we set some good goals, achieving those will help us feel the way that we want to feel. So you could use those, go back to those April intentions on page 9. Remember those intentions you set at the beginning of the month? Maybe you want to take a look at them again and see how you're progressing along there. Maybe you want to look at that monthly habit tracker, see how that's working out, see if you need to change any of those habits on there. If you're like me, you maybe have gotten a little off on checking off those habits. Maybe you want to jump back in there again, setting those goals through that lens of awareness. Maybe you want to do some no goals like no alcohol, no doom scrolling, no more than a certain number of minutes on social media. I think I was telling you I did really good one week where I didn't do really much social media at all, maybe 30 minutes tops for the whole week. And it was lovely. And I got lots of things done. And that started to creep back up again. And I've started, I think Instagram was like 4 hours this week. And I'm like, oh, okay, no, I don't like that. Gotta go back to the no socials. Because that works a lot better, I think, for me in getting things done. Maybe you want to look at some previous weeks or some previous journals to see what outstanding goals you might still have that you want to accomplish. Maybe you want to do a personal challenge for the week, like a fitness challenge, like every day I want to do 5 sit-ups, or I want to do 2 push-ups every day, something like that. Cleaning or decluttering, self-care, a new recipe challenge. Carly's going to try no phone in the evenings. A good way to do that is to set it to the grayscale mode. And it is not even close to as enticing when it is the ugly, just kind of grayscale, right? So I always recommend that to people if you're trying to stay off the phone, right? And I'm assuming you mean stay off the phone with the social media, not stay off the phone talking to people. Isn't it funny we still call it a phone, but do you even use it as a phone anymore? Here's some other examples of things that folks have done for their 3 goals. I like this one. They have stopped the chain reaction, shift to a different gear, and choose my next move. I think those are great framing for for what you want the week to be. Maybe you have a mind, a body, and a work goal. Yeah, Carly, we actually still have a landline. It's so funny. We keep thinking we need to get rid of it, but then I'm always like, well, but maybe. Um, Maybe you want to be present, be intentional, and be joyful. Maybe you want to delete, delegate, and delight goal. Lean into your routines, a be, have, and a do. Maybe it's some decluttering ideas that fit into a busy day. This is from Ordinary and Happy. And it was from last week. It has like last week's dates on it, but obviously you don't have to worry about the dates on there. You could do this at any given point in time. And I really appreciated this little blurb that I came across that said, to be fair to us all, though, we are conditioned to be really mindful of landfill and unnecessarily throwing stuff away. To which I say, your home is not a storage facility or the family museum. I do often have to remind myself of that because I have a lot of clutter that I really want to get rid of because it is distracting, right? And it is a bit of a stressor. So I thought that was really good. My home is not a storage facility or the family museum. I can actually get rid of some of this stuff. Maybe I want to repurpose this in quotes or podcasts or movies I want to watch or some recipes or some songs that I want to listen to. I saw some folks it was local record store day on Saturday. Maybe you went and got some new records and you want to spend some time listening to those. Maybe you want to breathe, move, and notice. Oops, I'm just going to so I'm going to let you work on your feeling and your goals. I will be quiet, play a little bit of music. I will cycle through these slides. Feel free to let us know that feeling that you want to feel. I love, Adrian says, a purged item a day keeps the stress at bay. That's great. I love that. So work on those goals, work on how you want to feel, and then we'll check in and keep moving along. Right. I saw everybody chair dancing, saying they were chair dancing there to that song. And some folks singing out loud, right? And so I love that, right? And that's it's always good. Music is very much a motivator for me. I know it's not always for everybody, but sometimes finding some of those songs like Don't Stop Me Now or something really good can definitely get me going. And if I'm doing like a 15-minute, I'm going to tidy something up for 15 minutes, or I'm going to do this for 15 minutes, playing some good music is definitely something that helps me get things done really quickly. So thank you again, everyone, for sharing in the chat what you are going to set as your 3 goals. And then those will now tie into our weekly to-dos. So you can see the one up in the top. This person, they have a mind, body, and a heart goal, and then they have their to-dos kind of tying into that. So for their mind, they have read daily, they're going to schedule an appointment with their doctor, they're going to breathe and meditate. For their body, they're going to stretch, they're going to drink water, they're going to focus on fruits and vegetables. For their heart, they're going to work on connections and glimmers and gratitude. So that's a great way to kind of tie those two together. And then you can see the one on the bottom, they have kind of like 3 separate little chunks of things to kind of work on. I loved this idea of read from paper again, take a book outside, a porch, a park bench, a picnic blanket, take a real book. While Kindles are great, there's something to be said about the actual paper physical book. And then I also like this person, they took their to-dos and they said reframe. They're going to try to reframe things, um, reframe ideas, or reframe maybe things that are stressing them out, to see if they can have a better experience with that, right? You can always do a bingo. We do love a good bingo here in Sonder Club. Maybe you want to have a don't do this instead. Maybe you want to set up something for self-care, something you want to do for your home, for your health, if you're taking a course. If you've got school or work, something like that you want in there. Someone has a need, want, and hope list. Someone has a work and a home ta-da list. Someone, they change to-dos to priorities, weekly priorities. Some repurposing ideas. Maybe you want to have some things that you don't want to do, right? Make a to not do list to check off things you don't do. Maybe you want to change it to a ta-da list, right? Like, ta-da, I did these things. Maybe you want it to be a to be list. I want to be patient. I want to be kind. I want to be vigilant. I want to be honest. Maybe you want to pop a really good quote in there. If you're reading a book, or, something where there's something that really kind of grabs you, maybe you want to put that in there. Maybe it's a piece of gratitude that you want to kind of have in there. Spring energy givers, right? Always can use some energy. Maybe you go to a farmer's market or pick some fresh flowers, decorate using seasonal decor. We've got our 30 days of awareness. Both of these pictures are from our Silk and Sonder Instagram page. Hopefully, if you're on Instagram, you subscribe to those. I think they are also in our Facebook. We still have a Facebook page. It's not like it was before, where it was like community interacting. It's more like a product page, but we do post these different things in there as well. So you can kind of take a look at those. Today was identify a belief about yourself that's evolving. So kind of tying in some past themes there about belief with our 30 days of awareness. And then I'm also going to talk a little bit about our habits and activities, or habities, as I called them one time when I was talking too fast. So these are things that are very specific to the week. They're activities, maybe they're habits we want to try out. Yes, you like our little sloth girl spring. I thought this was cute. Take slow walks, be furry and serene, nap mid-thought, hang out with yourself. I thought that was super cute. So this is different from that monthly habit tracker, where the monthly habit tracker is more of those things you want to do every single day. These are things that are more specific to the week. So maybe it's things like someone has sew for 15 minutes, stretch, eat the frog, right? That's the whole do the thing you don't want to do right off the bat, so that you've got the worst thing done right at the beginning. So everything else will be super easy, right? Read for 30 minutes, some hydration, no social media, work in your life workbook. Lots of different ideas there. The one that's circled where it says night walk with audiobook, this person's doing what's called habit stacking. James Clear talks about that in his book Atomic Habits, where there's 2 habits that you want to do. Yes, Brenda, are you still doing that? Are you still going for a little walk with your audiobook? But that's great, right? Because she wants to read. Yes, she says she's still doing that. She wants to read, but she also wants to go for a walk. So you've got your audiobook, you pair that up, two things at the same time, right? Love it. So this is a great opportunity to maybe do some habit stacking and think about what that could look like here. Also, we've got our little April bucket list there. We've got some other ideas of things that you could pop in here, things like getting 15 minutes of movement in. Don't check your phone after waking. Lots and lots of research says you need to give yourself at least 30 minutes after waking up before you grab that phone, right? So see, maybe that's something that you want to try to do, those kinds of things. So I'll let you work on those to-dos and those habits and activities. I think that was the last one. Yep. So, and then share in the chat what you're going to put in there. And then we will check back in and move over to our B side. Okay, lots of great ideas there in the chat. Folks thinking about different things that they want to do. And again, that little space there where it says goal, it's kind of like how many days do you want to do that this week? So oftentimes I will put pack my lunch 3 times a week. Or maybe it's something I want to do once, like finish a book, and I'll just have one. I want to do that one time this week. So it doesn't have to be something that you do every single day, right? In fact, that's probably a good idea for this not to be something you do every single day, right? So it's a habit that maybe you do, a couple times a week, something like that, just to kind of keep that momentum going, but it doesn't have to be every single day. So let's flip over to our page 47, which is our B side. Our fabulous facilitator, Katie, likes to call it her B side, which I think goes well with our national or our local record store day that we had on Saturday. We've got a meal plan, we've got a mind body health plan, we've got a shopping list and an I am loving section, right? So lots of different ideas. A lot of people like to repurpose these things. It kind of depends on what's going on. Isn't that a cute little cat? I like the thought that there's still a lot of good in the world. I think sometimes social media and media in general likes to make us think everything's horrible, and there is still a lot of good in the world. So sometimes we just have to keep our eye out for that, right? So our meal plan, obviously you can use it to plan your meal, you can use it to track your meals, you can also use it as an exercise tracker or a garden tracker or a dream tracker or your outfits or a gratitude log or a bingo board, or weekly appointments, a mindfulness activity. Maybe you want to track your ways that you're checking in with yourself each day this week. Again, you can see there's some fun little doodles and quotes, a daily affirmation, my week in reading, make it happen. They've got some cleaning things that they're going to do. And then I found this fun little one that was kind of little journaling prompts, little mini journal prompts. So things like, right now I really need, this week felt lighter when, something that made me genuinely happy. Lately, I've been appreciating a thought that stayed with me, a small thing that meant more than expected. This week, I felt most like myself when. So, these are all fun little mini journaling prompts, I think, that can also help with that kind of awareness of how things went with your week. And this would also be good if you did that, and then you could look back at it when you do your rosebud thorn. Then we've got our mind body health plan. Maybe you want to use this to focus on what you love today. I found this super fun thing from the um, slowsimpleseasonal.com. They always have really pretty graphics, and they had this fun little April nature and art little calendar. So today was record sunrise and sunset times this week in your nature journal. Tomorrow is observe how plants grow towards sunlight. I'm so mean to some of my plants. I keep turning them around so that they have to keep moving to follow the sunlight. So this is kind of a fun little calendar page there. This is National Library Week, if you didn't know. So celebrate your National Library. Go check out a book. Go hang out and see maybe what classes they have, what kind of fun things are going on there. There's always something fun at the library. Another good place for a bingo, right? Yeah, Jennifer's saying go to the library. Our little shopping list, yes, we can use it to track things that we want to focus on. We can use it for things that we want to, we could use it just as a shopping list. We can use it as a glimmer bingo. Somebody used it as they pull a tarot card for the week, or you can do an oracle card. Maybe it's reminding yourself no unnecessary spending. Yeah, the seed library thing, Greta's talking about that. A lot of libraries, our library has it too, where you can get seeds for flowers or vegetables or those kinds of things, all part of your tax dollars at work, right? So go check out those different things that you wouldn't even think of, right, at the library. Earth Day is on the 22nd. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So maybe you can do something fun there. You can come up with some fun Earth Day activities, some self care bingo. And then the I am loving is just kind of whatever you're loving right now, something that you're enjoying. Maybe it's more sun. The later sunlight hours definitely makes me super happy. I am still super nerdy about Project Hail Mary. Super excited to read that book next month. We are finishing up the correspondent this month in our little unofficial book club there on Fable, which I did finish it early. And oh my gosh, it is so good. I love it, love it, love it. And they're making a movie out of that, right? Because they're making a movie out of every good book, it seems like, which is okay. But Jane Fonda is going to be the main character in the correspondent. She's going to be in the movie. So anyway, there's that. And if you're not in the Fable book group, we'll put the link in the chat. You do, it's a private group, so you can't search for it. Yeah, Jennifer's popped the link in there. You should be able to use that link to get to it. So feel free to, if you want. We're still finishing the correspondent, but I also have some other books that's kind of in our archive there that I put in there. That's over on the right, where people can talk about some other books and kind of see. Yeah, Jane Fonda's not your. I don't think I've seen anything with Jane Fonda for a long time. So, very. I'll be interested to see how they do the correspondent, because it is an epistolary novel, so it's all done in letters. If you haven't had a chance to read that yet, which can be somewhat tricky sometimes to get into, so I'm not 100% sure how that's going to look as a movie. But anyway, the book is really good. So I will be quiet. I will let you finish this up, and then we will check back in, and then we will just wrap things up. All right. Well, I cannot believe the hour goes by so fast. This is always the fastest hour. We always tell people this is way faster than an hour on the treadmill. And I saw lots of folks looking up books on Libby, from their library. And yep, there's probably a long wait for The Correspondent, probably a long wait for Project Hail Mary. If you have Spotify, if you have the premium, you do get 15 hours of audiobooks that you can listen to. There's also, I think if you have Amazon Prime, I think sometimes you can get some audiobooks or you can get some books. So lots of different ways to kind of check out ways to maybe get the book without having to pay an arm and a leg for books. I know books can be kind of expensive, but thank you for spending some time with us here this evening. Please feel free to share that weekly planner in Silk and Saunders in the Sonder Club. You see, um, these are all examples from real life Sonder fam, right? So we love to see that. And I do have just a really quick little message from Meha. If you haven't seen, we do have the Sonder Coach that's available. There's kind of a little trial thing you can do on the website that will show you um, you can kind of like take it for a spin. Jennifer's popping the little link in there. I'm just going to see, will it play?
Okay, I turned 36 a few days ago, and as a gift to our Sonder fam community and our extended community, which includes all my followers, all of Silk and Saunders followers, all the people in our email list, we are giving away Sonder Coach for free. You're able to experience the magic within seconds rather than 30 minutes or more. So check it out. Okay, first, just click the Begin Your Journey button. Then select between a worry, goal, or personality reading. Personality reading is like a palm reading, only better because we combine human design, positive intelligence, Silk and Saunders, science-backed method to tell you exactly why you are the way that you are and what to do about it. Pro tip, if you're someone like me, click the mic icon when you describe what's on your mind, especially when you're doing a worry or a goal. It'll just go faster and we interpret everything, and you'll get guiding questions if we don't have enough information. We'll have you select a couple statements, answer some questions about your birthday, birth time, and after that, you will get your personalized results, personalized insights within seconds.
All right. So if you haven't had a chance to try it, it's really fun just to kind of play around. You don't have to fill in every single little thing when you're doing it. It's just kind of a fun way to get an idea of what the life coach is like. Remember, we've got that spring clean reset going. Jennifer is popping all sorts of links in there for you. The YouTube link that you can get to, my little unofficial book club is in there. Georgette, I don't know how long this little system is going to be for free. I would say probably for at least the next maybe week, maybe. Don't quote me on that because they haven't told us, but they just kind of said that they're wanting folks to be able to kind of take a little spin on that. So you can also ask any questions. You can do the hello@silkandsonder.com or the concierge at silkandsonder.com to ask them questions about it as well. So thank you again. Yeah, Chris, you can try it if you've already tried it in the past. You can, because it's through a website, so you don't actually have to download anything. You can just kind of pop on there and play around. So if you had it and you canceled it and you want to just play around and try this, it's kind of like a little mini version. So yeah, you can totally hop on and see what that looks like. So thank you all so much for joining us. I hope we see you again soon at another social. Take care, everyone, and have a fabulous, fabulous week.
I feel better, so much better, since I laid my burden down. I feel better, so much better, since I laid my burden down. Glory, glory, hallelujah, since I laid my burden down. Glory, glory, hallelujah, since I laid my burden down. I'm going home, I'm gonna live with Jesus, since I laid my burden down. I'm going home, I'm gonna live